I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where tipsy teachers teach fascinating lessons. What are we drinking, Hayley?
I think you're drinking some chopped up soup or something. Not
chopped
currently.
up soup.
I couldn't think of the word for blended.
I'm drinking Gatorade, homemade.
Oh, homemade Gatorade. I have a 201 Hopler IPA from Meddlesome Brewing Company here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Nice. But yeah, I can't drink because I got my wisdom teeth out a few days ago, almost a week ago now. So my face is also swollen. For those of you watching on the video, you can see bruises going down my cheeks. I also can't really smile.
She's not jaundiced. She doesn't have highlighter written all over her face. Those are in fact bruises.
Alec asked me today if I think I might have jaundice, and he was dead serious, and I said no.
It's cute. It's cute. He's worried about you. It's fine.
I don't know how I would have jaundice.
Can you not get that over months? It takes months to develop jaundice, right?
I think so. It's like something with your liver, right? So I think I'd have to be like a certified alcoholic to have it. I mean, I have been taking prescribed pain pills, so maybe that could mess up my liver, but no, it's not jaundice, it's bruises, and my whole face is fucked up. I can finally open my mouth up wide enough to look inside, and I was looking inside today at all my stitches and open wounds, and I was
immediately
this is
throw
disgusting.
up.
Yeah, I felt like throwing up.
It's been a long, short, hard road. It hasn't been that long, but
no, it hasn't been long. But yeah, if you are listening to this right now and you're 16 or 17 and your wisdom teeth haven't started coming in, but you have them, they're still in your bones, get them out now. Because getting them out as a teenager is so much easier, I hear, than getting them out as an adult. And getting them out as an adult has fucking sucked. I've been in so much pain. I wanted to cry yesterday because I can't eat anything. Even eating soft stuff like rice and macaroni is so painful and hard because chewing hurts so bad. It's terrible.
And you'd still be on your parents' insurance if you do it while you're a teenager. So get those wisdom teeth yanked.
Yeah, get them out, because what is almost as painful as getting them out is paying to have
get them
out.
Yeah. And they don't even let you keep them.
They didn't let me keep them. She looked
bullshit.
me dead in the eyes and said, "I'm not allowed to." I'm like, bullshit. You just don't want to.
Tell her, you've never broken the rules before. Wink, wink. What do I have to do? Who do I have to talk to?
I was so nervous to ask. And so I just looked at her. I'm like, can I keep them? I said it as fast as I could, avoiding eye contact. And she was just like, no, I can't. And I was like, okay. And I in my mind, I was like, I should argue with her. And then I did not. I was so scared.
I would be scared too. If somebody said no, I'd be shocked into submission.
I mean, I'm not going to try to piss off the person who's about to put me under and then cut me open.
I wonder in what cases they have to break the tooth and then take it out piece by piece. Because I could see them not giving you your tooth shards.
Because, I mean, what happens is 2 of mine have started growing in. The other 2 were embedded in my bone. So the ones, if they've already started growing in, they can just kind of I think yank them out like they do for a normal tooth. But the ones that are in the bone, they have to drill into your bone and then break them and pull them out in pieces. So 2 of mine were like that. And then 2 of mine were starting to come out, but they were probably also still kind of in the bone.
That is disgusto barfo. And whoever likes doing that, whoever's I'm going to go to college to rip people's teeth out of their bones and gums, I don't want to know.
It sounds horrible. And the oral surgeon I went to, he spends all Friday, every Friday, doing wisdom tooth extractions. It's wisdom tooth day. And can you imagine having that going into your weekend, an entire day of breaking people's teeth?
Whoever does that needs that to go into their weekend so they don't become a freaking family annihilator.
It's like a Dexter scenario.
Yeah, by the time Friday gets around, they have to tear out wisdom teeth whether it's scheduled or not, whether they have patience or not. Someone's teeth are getting yanked.
And they schedule an appointment every hour. And someone's appointment before mine, something had gone horribly wrong. I overheard them talking about it, and right as I was waiting to be put under.
Yeah, that feels good.
It feels great. And I Alec and I sat in the waiting room for 2.5 hours after my appointment time, just waiting. And so it was not a fun experience. And they didn't even let me keep my teeth.
0 out of 10?
0 out of 10.
Okay.
Would not do it again. And hopefully I won't have to.
Yeah, I would think not. Oh my God, what if your teeth grew back?
I think that happens to some people.
What? No way.
Yeah.
You can't just make new teeth
Yes,
as an
you
adult.
can. I think.
Who?
I don't know. I feel like I've read on Reddit that you can, but Reddit could be lying to me.
Yeah, your gums are like, keep them coming, back at him, beep, beep.
Like, I wonder if it's that thing of like, if they accidentally leave a piece of it in there, it like grows, like a piece of coral or something. Crazy.
My
I hope
gosh.
not.
Did people ever use coral for teeth when people's teeth were falling out?
I doubt it.
A long time ago. I wonder.
Yeah, probably not, but maybe.
You get a lot of hypothetical cavities.
There's a lot of room in there to get stuff stuck. They're full of holes, so
it's a one-time use type deal. That's why all the reefs are pretty much dying.
Good. We have some plugs.
We do. Plugs for ourselves.
Plugs
and
for
our
days.
patrons.
And our patrons. So we decided to scrap our substitute lessons on Patreon. We've been behind making Patreon content, and part of that is because substitute lessons take a lot of production and time to set up, and it's asking a lot of the people that we have on. So
yeah, it's great for us. We love sitting back and listening to these awesome lessons we've had, which will still be on Patreon. But we thought we'd let our guests take a load off.
Yeah, we want to do some redecorating, if you will.
My favorite thing. Oh my God, I freaking love it. So we had a whole staff meeting on Saturday.
We did. I was still on my painkillers, so I barely remember it, but I think it went well. One thing we wanted to do is have some more consistency with our Patreon happy hour. So we will now be having one per month, which I'm excited about. That's like my favorite thing to do on Patreon.
Yeah. And if you don't know what that is, we get on Zoom, we drink and all hang out with each other, and we sometimes play games. Sometimes we talk about the worst things we've ever done, the best things we've ever done. I'm just kidding. But the topics do range. It's a lot of fun to get to hang out with you all who are listening, and also to, like, a lot of our listeners have gotten to know each other and form friendships over the internet and through our cocktail hours. So yeah, I love those too.
I love them. And we decided to come up with a new Patreon show, which I'm super excited about. It's called List Bitch.
I love how we just took like our favorite lessons to do and we're like, let's just make it a whole show. Just make it a whole show. Let me do my thing consistently.
I mean, why not? It's definitely my favorite. So each month, and it'll be every month, we promise. Each month, Hayley and I will find our favorite like listicle on the internet and read it to each other.
It's going to be so freaking hard to choose. I already have one ready to go and I'm like, what's the next one going to be?
I'm so excited because it's that thing of like, a lot of times you think of a topic and find like a good list about it, and then there's not enough information. So this will be a nice way to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And then every 2 to 3 months, we're going to compete in a game of Night Classy trivia.
Oh my God. I am so thrilled for this. This is something we've been talking about for a while now. Mm-hmm. And now it's all coming to fruition. So we talk all the time about how we're constantly researching to put out these lessons and how we don't always remember each other's topics or even our own. So we're like, why not broadcast how much we know or don't know by putting together questions from past lessons and upcoming lessons as we're going on and make a whole trivia night around it.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. So that'll be something that you can listen to. We have all our tiers updated. There's like new tiers where you can get a t-shirt, and then one where you can be a ghost producer, and we will shout you out as a producer credit on every episode. Just a lot of fun stuff. So you can go on patreon.com/nightclassy, find the tier that works for you, and support the show. We really do rely on Patreon for all of our monthly expenses and keeping this show going. going. So, the more money Patreon generates, honestly, the more we can do and the longer we can keep going.
Yeah. And the more notifications from Patreon I get on my phone, the more dopamine in my brain. So financially and mental health wise, we're relying on you. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but it's true.
It is true. It makes me happy when I'm like, oh, we have a new Patreon friend and their new names. We'll let you guys go check that out for yourselves. See which tier name you like the best.
Yes, the names are really fun. Oh, and we're still doing we're sending out handwritten postcards and stickers, and Hayley has taken that over. So hopefully she'll be able to actually get those out on time, unlike me.
I'm excited. I have
get ready. We can't wait. Do you have anything else to share?
No, I do. I want to share my breathalyzer because,
Yes.
I blew it twice and both times it was a 0.000.
Okay.
And that's not true. I have drank half of this beer, but I was also listening and laughing out loud to a podcast it went through essentially a whole list of fake junk science.
Yeah.
And one of them is breathalyzers.
I knew it.
They were talking about how unreliable even the police breathalyzers are and that it's complete junk science. But the government and police are like, well, we can't go back on this now. How many people are in jail for DUIs or have been charged for all of that? Breathalyzers are complete BS.
I mean, we fucking called it. Did they say anything? Are you allowed to refuse getting your breath tested and be like, no, I want a blood test?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Because when this thing is telling us we're 0.08 after we've had half a glass of wine, that's not right. And then the next time we do it, literally 15 seconds after, it's like, oh, you're 0.001.
Yeah.
It's up and down, snip, snap, snip, snap.
Snip, snap. And also, I feel bad that we've wasted money on a quote unquote good breathalyzer. Because we were having issues with our past breathalyzer and we're like, maybe if we get a good one. But no, they're all unreliable.
The breathalyzer is the issue.
It is.
So just putting that out there. So this will be our fun little woo-woo.
Yeah, it's a gimmick
device. Yeah.
It's a gimmick. A disclaimer for all future episodes.
Alex
it's
is
not real.
Fucking finally.
Yeah.
He hates the breathalyzer bit.
I love it. I don't care that it's not real.
I do too. I like it more now.
Me too.
For us. Not if I got pulled over and
it's bad for police should not be using it, but we can use it for fun.
All podcasters should be using it. That should be included in a starter kit for podcasters who drink.
It is fun. Did we ever decide who's going first?
I think you should go first so you can get your talking out of the way.
Okay, my cheeks already hurt so bad, so I'm gonna try to breeze on through this lesson. As we already discussed, I had my wisdom teeth out, so I was bedridden for 3 days, and as you can imagine, I've been watching a lot of TV. I watched the new season of Love is Blind. It's amazing. Go watch it right now. You
finished it?
Well, not all the episodes are out yet, so I watched everything that's been released.
That is such a freaking tease. I hate that now. I cannot wait to watch TV shows. If all the episodes aren't out, I'm gonna wait to watch it.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of like it. It's it's something to look forward to. I've been watching Drag Race, and that comes out every week. And then Alec and I have also been watching this show. What is that kitchen show called, Alec? The one with
Next Level Chef.
Next Level Chef, that comes out every. I think it's fun. It's it's kind of like when you look forward to your favorite podcast coming out. It's oh, today I get to watch.
Yeah,
it's
I get
something
that.
to look forward to.
The way my brain works is that I get obsessed with something and it's only that thing for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, what's the next thing or song or TV show?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to start binging Euphoria. I redid my
too.
HBO subscription, so
Ayo.
I can't wait.
Tommy's sister lets us use his, so
nice.
I'm freaking set. It's about having connections,
Yeah.
It's all about your network.
I love my HBO account because I've literally only ever watched Game of Thrones on it. So it just says continue watching and it's Game of Thrones and that's it.
I need to finish that actually. I need to really give it a program.
Well, Alec and I have started watching it and we are just starting season 3. So maybe once we catch up to where you are, we can
Season 3 could be perfect.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so as I was saying, I watched Love is Blind. As I'm sure many of you could have guessed, we, both of us have also been following Clayton's journey on The Bachelor. There's a lot of amazing reality TV revolving around love. There's Too Hot to Handle, Are You the One, Indian Matchmaker, Married at First Sight, Love Island. The list goes on forever, and it's all impeccable. And this got me thinking, why are love-based reality TV shows so good?
What is love?
What is love?
What is love?
Well, I started doing research on what is love.
What? Really?
Kind of. Well, I found my answer. I was wondering, like, what makes watching people fall in love so interesting.
Ooh, okay.
And falling in love chemically changes our brains and hormone levels. It changes the way we think and behave, sometimes to a point where it's literally as if we're on drugs, causing the perfect recipe for entertaining and dramatic television. I present to you the psychology of falling in love.
Ooh, perfect timing for Valentine's Day.
Well, not really. It's a little late.
It's early. Valentine's Day 23, baby.
Yes. Love has 5 stages. There's the newlywed stage, the settling stage, the disappointment, learning, and growth stage, the comfortable stage, and the unconditional stage. For this lesson, we are just focusing on the newlywed stage, which is the first and most exciting stage and where people tend to be when they're on these TV shows. It happens right after you first meet someone and you're thinking that this could possibly be the start of something new. A lot of dopamine gets released in your brain, causing a sort of euphoria. And adding to this feeling of euphoria is increased activity of the nerve transmitters for adrenaline. And I practiced saying this earlier, but I'm forgetting. Phenylethylamine.
Yeah.
Ayo. So adrenaline causes your heart to beat faster, your palms to sweat, and it increases blood flow to the brain and muscles. It might feel like you have like this extra jolt of energy. Increased phenylethylamine, or PEA, which I'm going to call it from now on, heightens focus, attention, goal-directed behavior, and task completion. So
completion.
You don't need to refill your Adderall prescription. All you need to do is fall in love again.
With who?
I don't know. Find someone, have an affair.
I'm going to give Tommy a wig every day.
Just like do a role play scenario where you're meeting him for the first time.
Oh, I would be into that.
Yeah.
I could get into
sexy.
Yeah.
This chemical increases your sense of well-being and optimizes your brain performance. PEA is sometimes called the love molecule, and it's what's found in chocolate.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they say like eating chocolate, like it like makes you feel like that's why we love it so much. Like it makes us feel good.
It feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel so bad. I binged like so many Oreos this weekend, but it was like, that was kind of worth it. Even if I have to drink a gallon of Pepto-Bismol.
I won a Kit Kat bar at my professional development on Monday. But it's been torture because I can't eat it. It's too crunchy.
Right? It's too crunchy for your mouth.
Too crunchy that it fucking hurts.
Oh, so crunchy.
People may take PEA supplements to improve mental clarity, mood, stamina. I always say it wrong. Stamina, energy, libido, joy, and motivation. Additionally, in the early stages of love, the relaxation and feel-good hormone serotonin actually decreases. So you have all these like upper chemicals making you feel like energized and like your brain is working extra hard, and then your like relaxation chemical plummets. And this puts you in sort of a state of anxiety.
Yeah.
And what you're doing, it makes you really rely on that dopamine, and you're constantly reflecting on and replaying these happy romantic moments between you and your partner, trying to chase this high. You feel like when you're not with them, you're on edge.
Wow, you are making so much sense right now.
Yeah, and it makes sense like when you watch The Bachelor, how the women or The Bachelorette, how the contestants lose their minds when they're not chosen for a date. And it's because they're so desperate for that feeling of being with that person they're falling in love with. Falling in love, they say, closely mimics a biological state similar to doing cocaine. So your brain is just on overdrive and you have all this extra energy. It also affects people's testosterone levels. In female bodies, it increases testosterone levels, which results in an increased sex drive and aggression, while in male bodies, it decreases testosterone, making them a little bit more emotional and calm and receptive. So you can kind of like meet each other in the middle if you're in a hetero relationship, and if you're not, like you're already like at the same level. So you're always meeting each other. This is part of the reason why in the beginning of a relationship, couples might have a lot of sexual passion and have more sex, specifically like het or lesbian relationships, because the women like suddenly have this increased sex drive. Then after you've been together for a while, the sex drive sometimes plateaus with a lot of people. While falling in love makes us feel really good, it does have some side effects. One of those is the feeling of endangerment. So I know, it's kind of sad. Well, falling in love, it heightens our anxiety because you feel like you can lose this good feeling at any moment. Kind of like being on a drug. Like you could lose that high at any second and then you're going to be craving more. A new partnership also sometimes involves reordering your priorities and lowering your personal defenses, which can make you feel vulnerable and unsafe, adding to that anxious feeling. And when you're feeling this, it's important to take your time in a relationship and have good, open communication with your partner so it doesn't lead to unhealthy attachment. Another side effect is exhaustion. So this new chemical balance in your brain might make you feel tired because there's so much happening. And that's why a lot of people are eager to get out of the honeymoon stage, for this reason. They're eager to commit so they have a sense of security.
Yeah, let me just get settled into this. I'm tired of texting you all the time.
Yeah, I'm tired of feeling like I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
And this causes a lot of people to rush their relationship, which is something that plays out really effectively on reality television.
Yeah, the people who produce shows like this are honestly genius.
Yeah, so smart. It's all reality shows like take advantage of just like our basic human functioning so well. It's very impressive. There's two tropes about falling in love that I see played out over and over again and referenced on reality TV, and that is soulmates and love at first sight. And I wanted to examine each one of these through a psychological lens. A soulmate is someone you are a perfect match with and also have a special understanding of and powerful bond to. And it can also sometimes extend into the mythical and the belief that a pair of souls are reuniting or they're destined to be.
Do you believe in soulmates?
I didn't, but I feel like Alec is my soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't necessarily think that there's like one person. Like, I think you can be happy with a lot of different people, but I feel like maybe there's like one person who you've shared lifetimes to, because I believe in reincarnation. And like, I think that maybe you don't find them in every life, but sometimes you do and you know it. And that's how I feel in my relationship.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think the same thing that you don't necessarily have to have one soulmate. I also think soulmates can come in friendships or different relationships just because of reincarnation.
Totally.
But when you feel like you've met someone before or that it's just kismet, that to me is a soulmate.
Definitely. And I feel like for me, it's almost more like a feeling you have. Like when you meet someone and you have that feeling of knowing each other before and click instantly.
Yeah.
And
it's effortless.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
And like it doesn't happen with anyone. And like you can build like a new relationship and a new like soulmate match with a new person, and then maybe your souls will meet in the next life. But yeah, I think I don't know. That's how I like to think about it.
Founding fathers of this soulmate ship.
Yes. We have our ancestors to thank. If you believe in soulmates, you're not alone. 73% of Americans believe in soulmates, and more men than women believe in soulmates, with 74% of males and 71% of females.
Alec, do you believe in soulmates?
Yeah, I'll parrot what Kat said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, after Kat went on about it.
Yeah, you better
be
fucking
really-
believe in soulmates.
That'd be bad. Maybe I should have asked.
But I will say, like, I think I'm 31 now, and having gone through like a decade of like subpar relationships and kind of just being like almost at that point where you want to kind of settle, I probably a few years ago would have been like, you know, like I don't think you can have expectations like that. But folks, get really clear on what you want, because once you define what you want, like Kat came into my life right after I wrote it all down. So
Yeah.
when you know what you want, you can recognize it.
Yeah, totally.
And like maybe you're a new soul, so then you don't have a soulmate yet. And like this is the first life where you have to make that connection.
How special that would be.
So special.
And scary.
Yeah. If you're younger, you're also more likely to believe in soulmates. 79% of people younger than 45 believe in them, while only 69% of people older than 45 do.
It happened so quick. I didn't even know what happened. You didn't give me a chance.
Listen, if you didn't pick up on it,
There's
as
no
soon as
time.
that like 69
You said 69%
came out of my mouth.
AO.
It goes without saying. The belief or not in soulmates puts you in one of two camps. There's the destiny belief, which holds that each person is destined to be with their one true soulmate, and the growth belief, which holds that relationships progress slowly and with effort, two people can build a love connection. In general, destiny believers have passionate short-term relationships that start hot but quickly burn out. And this is because they're looking for their quote-unquote perfect person, and they're quicker to break things off for small deal breakers that show that the person isn't perfect.
Yeah, no one's going to be perfect in every way.
Definitely. And these people tend to view compromise as settling. So it's like, well, why would I settle? Like everything should be perfect immediately. Whereas growth believers take longer to commit. They're also more willing to compromise and work through problems. And this isn't to say that if you believe in soulmates, you're doomed to end up alone, or that if you're a growth believer, you're doomed to settle. I think a lot of people like have overlap in these beliefs, and that's probably the healthiest thing.
Yeah. I remember talking to one of my friends in college about a guy I was dating, and I said something like, it's just not like Jim and Pam from The Office.
They don't even have a good relationship. I'm sorry, but I don't think they should be together.
Who do you really?
Yeah.
I think they fit well together. Why do you think they're not
I think
good?
Jim is a bad partner. I don't like him.
Why? Oh my
Because he
God,
did
hot
so
take.
much behind Pam's back. He bought a house without asking her. He started a business in another state without asking her.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like he walks all over her because she's insecure and submissive and introverted.
I feel like they started to work through that at the end of the show, though.
They worked through it, but I don't know. I do not like him.
That's fair.
That's my take.
That's fair. And my friend also told me those aren't real people.
Also that.
I was like, oh my God, you're right.
You're so
Why
right.
Why did I not think of that before?
And didn't the writers try to write in that he cheated on her? And the
That
actor,
is a
Krasinski, like
conspiracy.
pushed back and was like, if you do that, it's going to ruin the show.
And that's
That would.
true, but also I feel like that's in his character. Like he lies to her and does stuff behind her back so much. And she got together with him because he kissed her when she had a fiance.
I like bad boys. What can
So-
I say? I like Jim. I'll
Jim the
say it.
bad boy.
He's hot, but that only goes so far.
Far enough.
The answer to the question, are soulmates real? I think it really just depends on how you define them. I think that the belief that we have one person and we're going to be unhappy with anyone else is not true.
You can't convince me otherwise.
Okay, well, that's unhealthy.
Safety is my soulmate.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Soulmates have been studied and reveal some interesting psychology. According to a study by the University of Virginia on 1,414 married couples in Louisiana, those who practiced traditional marriage relationships supported by social network and religious institutions tend to have happy, stable marriages as long as, and this is the qualifier, they're good at communication.
Which is a hard thing to do
It
sometimes.
is, and a lot of people are not good at communication. The opposite of this is quote unquote soulmate marriages. And I didn't see a good definition of what separated these two things. I think one of them, it's like you're marrying more, like maybe you love them, but it's like your motivations also lie within like this person. Our families match up well and our religions match up well. And like, I need this stability or whatever.
It's convenient.
It's convenient. And then those in, not to say that's bad, but, or they're not in love, but I think that was what this study was arguing. And then there's people in soulmate relationships who maybe don't match up on all those levels, but they're in love, you know?
Yeah.
And so they got married maybe in spite of social or religious differences and expectations. And these marriages report high levels of satisfaction, but also high levels of conflict.
Uh-oh, nobody likes conflict.
No.
Oh, wait, some people do.
Some people
They
do.
love it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, some people thrive on that. Not that it's healthy, but I mean, some people do search that out.
If everyone was healthy and well, the world would explode.
It wouldn't function.
Everyone would
We need
go
the
like
fire signs.
soft like pudding.
Yeah. The same study found that those in soulmate matches were more likely to view marriage as an opportunity to enjoy companionship, emotional security, and individual fulfillment than those who take a more traditional view of marriage. Another study by Renee Franuek of Aurora University sampled 143 adults to study implicit relationship theory. The study divided people into two camps based on their belief that either relationships are destined or relationships develop slowly and with effort. People either subscribed to quote unquote soulmate theory, which states that finding the right partner is crucial in a relationship, or quote unquote work it out theory, which is based on the belief that successful relationships require time and effort, and it doesn't matter as much who you're with as if you're willing to work things out. Each of these camps can be broken down further into pure, strong, or weak belief groups. One finding of this study was that though people with strong soulmate theory are more likely to leave relationships early, once the relationship is established, they are less likely to leave after experiencing intimate partner violence. And that's a pretty intense finding, but I think it makes sense. Like, if you believe strongly there's only one person for you and that's your person, it's going to be really hard to end that relationship.
Yeah, because that not only ends the relationship, but it makes you question your personal beliefs and then who you are and what is your place in the world and will you find another person? But you can't because that's your person.
I think, that will you find another person? And a tactic of a lot of abusers is saying like, no one else will take you. No one else will want to be with you. And if you believe in soulmate theory, like you might be more inclined to believe that. So it's actually really scary. Like I don't think you want to go too far on either side of this pendulum.
Yeah.
They are also more forgiving of their partner and actually more likely to put effort into overcoming difficulties than those in the work it out camp. So, I mean, that just goes back to what we just said.
Yeah.
In general, studies suggest that the belief in soulmates is not usually a beneficial one, at least not to the extreme extent. And is it even possible that everyone has a soulmate? The math says no. NASA roboticist Randall Monroe, aka Big Old Wet Blanket, did the numbers. First, he defined soulmates as to be within the same age range as you.
Whoa. Do souls have age?
I don't know, but I feel like it'd be hard to have a 50-year-old soulmate when you're 20, but not to say it doesn't happen. I just feel like you've gone through life and you're at different emotional maturity. So maybe that is your soulmate.
Possible, probably in lower percentages.
Yeah.
Than of people your own age.
For the sake of this math, he's assuming that we want to be with someone in our age range, which I think he defined as like within 10 years of you.
Okay.
What this does is it leaves, according to him, 50 million potential candidates. If you lock eyes with a few dozen strangers each day, probably 10% of them are in your age range, meaning that you'll look at about 50,000 possible soulmates in a lifetime. And that's out of a possible 500,000. So that means that only one lifetime in 10,000 would you find your soulmate.
The thing about soulmates is that it doesn't make sense.
I agree. And also, if you think of soulmates as a metaphysical concept, the math doesn't matter because your two souls are drawn together somehow. Like, have you watched the movie Made in Heaven?
No.
It's an 80s movie, and we watched it because it was on the podcast How Did This Get Made? And it kind of like deals with like this concept of soulmates, I think, very well. It's a really interesting movie. I liked it. I think you guys should go watch it. Anyway.
Thanks for the rec.
Yeah. So
real quick, his thing didn't incorporate Tinder, did it? And things like that? Because he's doing his math based on like chance encounters on the street, right?
Yeah. He does not, including Tinder.
Because I think you've got a better chance. Both of our relationships were on Tinder.
Yeah, I think dating apps are great. The thing about dating apps, I've seen a lot of people post on Reddit about how, like, I mean, they optimize monetization. So for men, sometimes they don't work very well, but in our cases, they did.
Yeah. Worked out for us. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I would have met any of the guys I went on dates with here in a new city or Tommy.
Yeah.
My soulmate.
I know.
Without Tinder and Hinge.
Me either. It's really hard to meet people just by happenstance. I'm not bold enough.
Oh, no. I'd have to have like several drinks before I was bold enough.
Tinder's comforting because you don't have to like they don't have to know you like them unless they also like you.
Yes, that's like the best part about it. And if you're, a girl, you probably have more matches than you do if you're a guy. You just like log in and you're like, oh, wow, okay, ego boost.
I know. It feels
calm down.
It's good to be a girl when it comes to dating apps.
It's a girl's world.
If we're talking about dating apps, on Tinder. It's a girl's world on Tinder. So soulmates may or not be real. I think would I already say this? It depends on how you define them. Now, what about love at first sight? 56% of Americans believe in love at first sight, and that number goes up for people in relationships and marriages. Do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
Yeah. I don't think I do either. I think like attraction at first, love at first sight.
Lust at first sight, like, dang, you're hot at first sight, but
I don't think you can like look at someone and be like, I'm
in love with you.
Yeah.
I'm in love with the idea of you.
Yeah.
I'm in love with, I'm like basically I fucking you, but I do not love you.
No. And sometimes very attractive people are not good. So there you go.
Oh yeah, I thought there was more to that.
No, I don't know what I was trying to say. Just not good people.
Yeah, you're right.
Like you can't rely on that first look, in my opinion. But people claim that it happens to them all the time. Prince Harry reports experiencing love at first sight with Meghan Markle, as does Portia de Rossi with Ellen DeGeneres. So like it's reported over and over again. One study suggests that 60% of people report experiencing love at first sight.
But that's just also such a fun thing to be able to say.
Yeah, I think like, I had love at first sight with my partner. It's like, no, you didn't. You were attracted to them, and then it happened to turn into a relationship.
Yeah, I'm like over here, like love at 25th sight. Love at 50th sight.
And I think you can fall in love very quickly. Like, I think you can fall in love like the first like day or week you're with someone. But I think you have to like have a conversation with them. You can't just look at them.
Yeah, like I'm in love with that ass at first sight, but I'm in love with you as a person, as my possible soulmate. Yeah, that takes more than just a glance.
I agree. Alec, what do you think?
I think there's probably a survivorship bias that's happening with that, in that as we go about our single lives, there's probably a lot of times when we get romantic and we're like, oh my God, that girl I just met is like possibly the one. And then 2 days later, it's like, oh, she's got Trump shit on her Instagram. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And if that had played out differently, then you'd be like, oh yeah, it was love at first sight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people argue against this, that it's just like biased memory. Because like if you're in a relationship, that when you're in love, you might be likely to like romanticize your first meeting and be like, it was love at first sight, when in reality it wasn't.
Yeah. Also, memory, not reliable.
Not reliable at all. There was a study that looked at this phenomenon out of the Netherlands. 400 people completed a survey about their romantic partners immediately after first meeting them, which seems I was wondering that too. And I didn't read like the full study. I just read about it in an article. Like you do. So I'm not entirely sure how this happened. Maybe they like interviewed people at like a speed dating thing, like after they exchanged numbers with someone. I don't know. The survey included agreeing or disagreeing with the statement, I am experiencing love at first sight with this person. And then they also reported how physically attractive they found the person and how much sexual attraction they felt. And so the study found a number of things. Number one is that contrary to what we were just saying, love at first sight isn't just biased memory. And that's because a lot of the people reporting it like haven't built a relationship yet. So they can't be like having a false memory because they were surveyed right after meeting.
Yeah.
But also we don't know if it was actually love. So.
Yeah, we have no context.
Yeah, no context. Number two, you're more likely to fall in love at first sight with beautiful people. The study found that a higher attractiveness rating corresponded with 9 times greater likelihood that their partner would report experiencing love at first sight with them.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
honestly,
it makes
I'll
perfect
go out
sense.
on an edge here, on a limb, on the edge of the limb. I'll go out on and say, I agree.
Right up to the edge.
Right up to the edge. Right up to the
She's
little,
edging.
The lid. I'm edging on the limb. That could be a song.
Oh, yes, it could. Men report experiencing love at first sight more often than women do. Number 4, love at first sight is not always mutual. In fact, it's more often one-sided. Meaning it's probably not
real.
love at first sight. And finally, love at first sight, drum roll, isn't really love. People in lasting relationships report much higher levels of intimacy and commitment than those who just met and are reporting love at first sight. I know we're all shocked by this.
It's almost as if love is like wine and it needs time to exist and develop.
Definitely. And that's why people who get the first impression rose in the Bachelor franchise often are not the final one.
Yeah, that doesn't tell you anything.
Does not.
Do you know any spoilers?
There are no spoilers out for this season.
Okay.
In reality,
I think
Steve
I know
said so.
who it's gonna
I think
be.
I know too. Do you want to say who we think it's going to be? Since
I don't want to.
there's no spoilers. Alec, neither of us are spoilers.
Okay.
We're just debating. I don't think the final rose goes to anyone, but I think he's going to like chase after Rachel and like beg for her to take him back in the after.
Which one is Rachel? Is she the one
pilot.
who went shopping last night? Oh, okay. No, I think it's going to be the girl who went shopping last night. What's her
Okay,
name?
Susie.
The Hannah Ann? Susie. Yeah, I think it'll be Susie. Susie, Rachel. Who do you think, Alec?
I thought for sure Susie was a shoo-in for like his final person, but the way they're editing it's hard to say.
I think she's getting like the edit to make us think that it's her, and in reality, it'll be Rachel. I don't know.
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
For those listening that don't watch the show, they've been teasing this clip the whole season where he basically says to 2 women, I've been intimate with both of you, and they erupt in tears. So
but the people crying are Gabby and Rachel. Susie's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Rachel
it could be
Throws like crying on the staircase.
it could be clever editing though, because they know
don't
we're
know.
talking about this stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. This
Tune in
is
3
Night
weeks from
Classy,
now.
a Bachelor podcast. So with all this considered, like we were just saying, it's really more like attraction at first sight that does sometimes lead to a long relationship. All in all, falling in love makes our brain light up. We experience a lot of emotions and hormones, and it causes us to do things we normally wouldn't. It can also be extremely fickle. You might think someone is your soulmate, or you've experienced love at first sight, and then it's one-sided, or the next day it fizzles out. Again, making for great TV.
Love hurts.
Love hurts, and this is TV I've been very grateful for the past few days, so keep being messy when you fall in love.
Make sure to do it on TV.
Yes, if you're going to be messy, do it on TV. That's my lesson on falling in love.
Wow, thank you.
Yes.
I love that so much. I loved it. Love at first
Wow.
hear.
Listen.
Listen. Love at first listen.
It was right there, Hayley.
Love at first hear.
I'm 1 beer in, and I'm calling off work tomorrow.
Get ready to crack open another one after I read my sources.
Okay, do it then.
I have Reuters.com, Metabank.com, integrative psychiatry.com, healthline.com, a Psychology Today article called Is Love at First Sight Real by Libby Ma, a Breathe to Inspire article called Psychological Facts About Soulmates by Naveen Bomkanti, scienceofpeople.com, bustle.com, another Psychology Today article called The Early Stages of Falling in Love by Deborah, why can't I say anyone's name? Deborah Koshava.
Deborah.
Koshaba. Jesus Christ, I can't read. Anyway, thank you for listening to my lesson, and let's hear from our sponsor. Water. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help, or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It is much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And special offer to Night Classy listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/classy. That is betterhelp.com/classy. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast episode. And by supporting them, you are supporting the show. Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Learny wormies.
My night cats.
You're the night cat. I'm over here. I'm the OG learny wormy.
Cute.
Like,
I think it suits
it's
us.
fitting.
Yeah.
I'm your little tapeworm.
Ew.
Yeah.
No, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm tapeworming inside your intestines.
No.
Just soaking up all the
Ew.
Gatorade.
Do they live in your intestines? I thought they lived in your stomach.
Yeah, I guess. Well, remember that one time Safety had one of those little worms crawling out of his butt?
That's not
your
a tapeworm,
intestines.
though.
You're right. What is it? A heartworm? Not a heartworm.
No,
what was it?
I don't know. I don't know what they're called.
Either way.
I just know they're gross.
I'm a wormy and I learny.
Yes, you do.
I don't know all the different types of worms that can live in your kittens after they've
You
been
don't?
raised in a shelter. You don't either.
I probably should after how many fucking kittens we've had.
Yeah. Either way, you're the cat, I'm the worm, Alec is the producer. Everyone has their role. That makes it sound like a porn.
Ew. You're like
Okay,
the
I'm
worm
sorry.
in my butthole.
Yeah.
Nice.
Learny, wormy, and night cat. That's what we mean. For all of those who are wondering, that's what that means. We're trying to start a new euphemism. No, not
I don't
euphemism.
know. Just do your lesson.
I'm sorry, everyone. Okay. Today we are going on a learny journey about this badass man. His name is Bass Reeves. He's a legendary lawman of the Wild West. He is a man whose true adventures rivaled and probably inspired a lot of characters, a lot of Western film people, particularly the Lone Ranger, who I don't know a lot about.
I think I watched the one, is it with not Jack Black, Johnny Depp?
Probably. Was he wearing the like black eye mask?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I know, like I think they remade one like within the last 10 years.
There've been so many. Yeah. They did. There was like a 2018 one too. Yeah. So some people think that Bass Reeves was the guy who inspired that character. Some people are like, no way. But also one of the reasons they're like, no way, is because the Lone Ranger in all these films is white and Bass Reeves was black.
Oh.
He was born in 1838 somewhere in Arkansas, and he grew up enslaved by a state legislator named William Steele Reeves. Not a lot is known about his childhood, but we do know that he was a water boy, he was a blacksmith assistant, and eventually was companion to his master. That was a more privileged position. Bass and his family sat at the table and ate with the family who enslaved him, which is like, I don't know, privilege, sure, but like,
I don't know if I'd call that privilege, but I mean, I guess
it's
in comparison, I suppose.
Yeah, that was probably not the best way to put it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, everyone.
Well, it's hard to like think of what to call that.
A less fucked up way.
Maybe more like bearable.
A more bearable
out of all the fucked up ways.
I don't know.
But I feel like at the time, she's saying like it was a privilege at the time. Right?
Yeah. It was all bad. Him and his family had it easier comparatively.
Yeah.
But the man who enslaved him, William, died, and Bass and his family were passed down to his son, George Reeves, a colonel in the Confederate Army. And because of that, Bass Reeves got to participate in some marksmanship practice, and he got really good, so good that he got entered into turkey shoot competitions, and he won a bunch of them. Bass said later in life that he served mainly as the colonel's valet, bodyguard, coachman, and butler. Bass Reeves also accompanied George into battle during the Civil War. And during this time, one night, a card game inspired this kerfuffle between George and Bass Reeves. It escalated so much so that we're not really sure exactly what happened, but either Bass Reeves punched George or beat him up to the point that he was knocked out. And Reeves is like, all right, I'm going to head out.
Yeah, I'm fucked when he wakes up.
Peace!
Yeah.
So he flees to Native American territory and is welcomed there by Cherokee people, Choctaw, Muskegee, aka the Creek Chickasaw, and the Seminole people. And he lives there for a very long time. During his time on the run, Bass Reeves learns the languages and customs of these tribes. After the war, Reeves moves to Van Buren, Arkansas, and becomes a successful rancher. One of the things I learned in my research is a common misconception I know I had, and that plenty of people do have, is that cowboys were mostly white guys. Turns out the OG cowboys were Black people.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. That's something that I learned. And he occasionally served as a guide for U.S. Marshals to venture into Native American territory. Bass Reeves married a girl from Texas. Her name is Nellie Jenny. Cute name.
That was a cute
right?
name.
I just had to
Nellie
notice
Jenny.
that. And they got it on. They had like 12 kids together. They were just, I mean, love at first sight,
them
maybe.
Out, I guess. Yeah.
Bass Reeves was just hanging out, chilling, being a rancher, doing his cowboy thing, raising his 12 babies, and he probably would have been content doing that for the rest of his life. But a guy from one of my previous lessons, episode 4, the hanging judge.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's coming back around.
You like
Town.
that? The hanging judge, his nickname, his real name being Isaac Charles Parker. Quick, too long didn't listen for episode 4. The hanging judge is a judge who loved sentencing people to death. He sentenced 160 people to death during his time presiding over the court, which gave him the nickname the hanging judge. Not only did he love sentencing people to death, he also loved the idea of having a very lawful, law-abiding society. And since they were right there on the border in Arkansas between U.S. territory and Native American territory, it was very easy for outlaws and people who were evading the law to just go over to the Native American territory. So that really pissed him off. And his vision for the district wasn't exactly aligning how he wanted it to after the Civil War ended, especially so close to this literal lawless Native American territory. So the hanging judge decided to clean up this Western District of Arkansas in 1875. Men of law had to go into or near this Native American territory or on the border to crack down on crime and weed out the outlaws who were going to hide out. And Judge Parker appointed a man named James F. Fagan to lead this mission west as West Arkansas's new U.S. Marshal. So Judge Parker also tasked Fagan with finding 200 deputies to help him. You know, this is not a one-man job. So they're brainstorming, recruiting people, and they're like, who do we know who's a really good shot, knows several different Native American languages as well as their culture, knows the native territory and terrain like the back of their hand, and is on really good terms with the people who live there? It was Bass Reeves. He was the only guy who met all of this qualifiers, if you will. And so it was very easy for them to deputize Bass Reeves, even with the racial prejudices of the time. Fagan wasted no time in doing so, and Bass Reeves became one of the first Black deputy U.S. Marshals in history.
Cool.
Yes. He has a very good mustache, I must know.
Can I see it? Do you have a picture?
You can. I did not send a picture. I figured Alec could just look one up, but just picture the best handlebar mustache you've ever seen.
Okay, I got it.
He also stood 6 feet tall, 2 inches.
Tall boy.
Especially for the time, the average height for the U.S. man was 5'7". So he's towering. He has a great mustache and a very clever sense of humor.
Oh, that is an amazing mustache.
Yeah,
it's huge.
I know. Like, you could get lost in that mustache. No wonder him and his wife have 12 kids.
It's all in the mustache.
It is. I think he got power from that mustache because he was a very powerful man. He was very strong physically, and he could fire his gun with shocking accuracy, also ambidextrously. So he could just like flip-flop, right, left, whatever. He had no issue.
I don't know how people do that.
I don't know how they do it either.
My left hand is useless. You could cut it off, and I'd be like, okay.
Yes. I was
What else?
holding one of my preschoolers. They wanted to sit on my lap today, and we were cutting out pictures of healthy foods. And I was like, oh, I can do this with my left hand. No problem.
No.
I cannot.
No.
I cannot do that.
It's too hard. Some things are too hard.
That is one of them. Bass Reeves could, however. And while on duty, you could count on Bass Reeves wearing his massive cowboy Stetson hat. I learned that vocabulary word. And his boots were always polished perfectly. It wasn't long before Bass Reeves became a living legend. In 1908, the Daily Ardmorite, I think, stated that, quote, he never failed to bring in a man he went after. He would get them either dead or alive. So he really developed this reputation of never giving up when serving a warrant and being relentless. Let me see here. I switched up something in my notes, so let me just figure out what I was trying to do.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to pull up this picture for the YouTube audience of
Okay.
his handlebar mustache. There it is, folks.
Papa. Look
And
at
the
that
rest
thing.
of him is so clean shaven that it really stands out.
Yes.
Even his head.
It's just like the hair density.
Yeah. And his eyebrows are like too many handlebar mustaches.
They are. It's like if his eyebrows were his biceps and his mustache were his legs. You know, it's like he does not skip leg day. Like that mustache is like, papa, it's there.
It lifts
He
heavy.
looks very proud. Yeah,
It
looks
eats its
heavy.
steamed chicken and broccoli every
It
day.
does. It's protein loading, it's carbo loading, it's going all in, honestly. So now I'm just gonna go through and give you a couple examples of what kind of U.S. Marshal he was. Okay.
Okay.
So Bass Reeves is on this trip. He has warrants for 2 men, Frank Buck and John Bruner. He's up the Canadian, that must be wrong. He's up some river. He's looking for these prisoners and he runs into 2 men. He didn't know that they were Frank and John. Bass Reeves inquires about Frank and John and they're like, "Oh, yes, we can help you. We saw them up the road," or whatever. So they all camped together, and while they were starting to get dinner together, Bass Reeves noticed John Bruner stealthily pulling out his pistol. You know, if you're gonna unwind, take your pistol off and take off the belt, you're not gonna do it stealthily, like you're trying to hide something, right?
It's just awkward.
I don't
He's
think
like,
he is,
He's
though.
he's gonna think it's weird that I'm taking off my belt, so I'm just gonna take the gun out.
He's gonna think that I'm the convict that he's after if I do it quick. Reeves was fast on his feet, though. He snuck behind his horse as Bruner was like stealthily pulling out his pistol, and Reeves was able to not only draw his pistol before John Bruner did, but he was able to shoot him before Bruner even got his gun up.
That's a good horse that would just stand there while you're shooting over its
Oh,
back. What
let
the
me
fuck?
be your shield.
Yeah.
Sure thing, buddy. This horse doesn't know what's going on. He's like,
Doesn't
I'm
give a fuck.
tired.
Yeah.
I've been walking literally all day.
It's probably death if it can just stand there for that.
Yeah. If the horse doesn't know that you're pulling your pistol out stealthily, then you must be really fucking stealthy. That's all I'm saying.
Very
And
stealthy.
Bass Reeves, not Brass Reeves, noticed it. At the same time, Reeves saw Frank Buck, the other guy, pulling out his weapon. So somehow Reeves gets John Bruner's pistol in one hand, shoots Frank Buck dead, and then Reeves secures John Bruner. He like ties him up and puts him on his horse and is like, "I'm taking you to Fort Smith where your ass is grass."
Wait, he had time to shoot the other guy and then tie the other guy up without that guy.
Yeah.
How did he tie
like,
up a live guy? Did he like shoot him in the arm or something first?
He must have, right?
Yeah.
There's another version to the story. And again, this was a long time ago. So all of it is probably half truth.
Yeah.
Here's the other version of the story. The 2 men that he was after saw Reeves from a mile away and instantly knew who he was. How could you not? Your reputation precedes you. And his fucking mustache. It's like the Batman signal, right?
It kind of looks like one.
So the guys told Reeves, they're like, "Hey, dude." And Reeves is like, "What's up?" And they're like, "You're fucked." They approach him with their guns drawn on horseback, and they went on gleefully taunting him. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're some big shot U.S. Marshal." Well, no, not anymore. But then Reeves is like, "Yes, okay, excuse me, sir. What is the date today?" And the guy's like, and he's thinking, he's like trying to figure out what the date is. And there's like, why do you need to know that? I don't really know. And Reeves is like, "I need to be able to correctly date your arrest paper because you assholes are coming with me, dead or alive."
Wow, that was smooth as hell.
Yeah. I mean,
And they're like, that was such a good line that
we're
here we
going
go.
with you.
Like, we
Yeah.
have to go with
You've
you.
wooed us. You've wined us and dined us within one line. This is arrest at first sight. So the outlaws burst out laughing in this version of the story. Reeves grabs the gun barrel of the guy closest to him, draws it away from himself, and in quick succession releases the barrel of the gun, reaches for his own gun, and as the brothers are drawing their aim to fire. But right before they do, Reeves shoots both of them because he's such a good aim. You know, I don't know almost anything about guns, but I know that especially back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they're not that accurate. So he shoots both of them before they can pull their triggers and like saves the day, brings one of them back and gets money, I'm sure, some type of reward. Different stories, same theme. This guy is a badass. He's not afraid of anything, and he's going to go into the wilderness and hunt your ass down. A note for this, although his hat was hit twice in his career, his buttons had been shot, two of them had been shot from his coat at one time, and his brittle reins were shot from his hands. Reeves himself was never injured on the job.
Wow.
Yes. But being one of the first Black U.S. Marshals was not easy at any level. This is a quote from one of my sources. A white police officer once drew his gun on Reeves and threatened to shoot, not liking that Reeves was ordering around white federal prisoners and that Reeves and other marshals were transporting them to the penitentiary. So he wasn't seen as an equal some of the time. A shootout was narrowly avoided in that instance. The white police officer was like, screw you, man, I'm racist. But then thankfully a senior deputy marshal came to Reeves' defense. And the first man that Bass Reeves ever killed was a guy who was being racist while he was arresting him. His last words, according to a judge named Judge Brady, were, quote, "A black badge doesn't mean a damn thing to me." And he started to raise his rifle and
to the judge?
Not to the judge. The judge witnessed it.
Oh, yes. I thought this was like in court. He's like,
I mean, it is the Wild West. So
like, that's probably like, I know you're not supposed to represent yourself. It should go without saying you're not supposed to kill the officer in court.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I think it must have been outside of the courthouse or something because the judge stated that and a lot of these quotes that I'm talking about came from newspapers of the time that were compiled into this video that I watched. So that was the first man that Bass Reeves ever had to kill. And out of the 3,000 men, over 3,000 men and women he brought to justice, only 14 of them he was not able to bring back alive. So he was really...
I mean, by Wild West standards, that's
good.
Probably pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. He was so feared at the peak of his career, some outlaws would surrender as soon as they found out or heard that he was the one who was looking for them.
He's like Dog the Bounty Hunter. You see that facial hair and you know you're fucked.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the opposite though. It's like I would turn myself in to not have to see Dog the Bounty Hunter, but like I kind of want to see Bass Reeves in person. I want to be like,
want him to tie me up and throw me over the back of his horse.
Dead or alive. Preferably alive though.
Daddy or alive.
Reeves calls this one guy Jerry Mcintosh, who's a terrible person. We'll get to it. Jerry Mcintosh had these nightmares about Bass Reeves. He did have good reason to have nightmares, though. According to a 1903 article, Jerry, quote, went home one night and dragged his wife from her bed and after pouring coal oil on her, set a match to her. The woman was terribly burned, and her attending physician says she is in critical condition with little hope of recovery. Mcintosh says that he was drunk when he committed the act and hardly knew how it was done. So, obviously, a warrant is put out for Jerry Mcintosh's arrest for murdering his wife. And Jerry Mcintosh had this dream that Bass Reeves tracked him down into the wilderness and jumped on him. And Jerry woke up. He tried to run, but he was too late. And upon waking up from his nightmare and realizing that it was just a dream, he immediately went into town from his hideout in the wilderness and turned himself in. It was not an isolated case either. Also, cool name alert coming up. Her name was Belle Starr.
Thought you were going to say Belle Snickle.
Oh, man, I wish.
Belle Starr is pretty
should
cool,
be
too.
arrested, though. Belle
He
Starr
should.
He's been a bad boy.
Bad. He's been impish.
And surely not admirable. Belle Starr, 2 R's, if you're wondering. She was a famed female bandit. Immediately turned herself in when she found out Bass Reeves was the marshal assigned to tracking her down.
I mean, you may as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to risk it. Also,
No.
I'm too afraid. I'm not trying to do anything wrong. I might go above the speed limit sometimes, but like as soon
As soon as someone looks at me, I'm like, I surrender.
you're like, okay, I don't need my wisdom teeth
Yeah.
anyway. I'm having them removed for a reason. Okay. Bass Reeves was not all about guns though, and like strong manning these people into justice. He was very clever too. And one time Bass Reeves was searching for these other 2 outlaw brothers and suspected that they were hiding out in their mom's cabin in the woods. But her cabin was literally in the Wild West wilderness. So just showing up on horseback would be suspicious and would probably get him killed, just pulling up to someone's house like that. So Bass Reeves knew their sweet mom was letting the boys hide out. And he also knew that she was known to let travelers and other bandits stay in her cabin. So he decided to shoot his hat with some bullets, dirty up his clothes, and walk the 28 miles to the cabin and ask to stay with her.
So he didn't look threatening.
Exactly. He
Okay.
looked like just another rando in
Smart.
the Wild West.
Yeah.
He knocks on the door.
I don't understand why he had to walk 28 miles though. Couldn't he have just like tied up his horse
a
like
mile.
outside of the property? Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems sus.
He was like, I can't act exhausted. I'm so strong and
Yeah.
I'm so physically capable that I have to actually be tired and hungry.
He's like, I'm just not a good actor.
Yeah.
It's good. I love the self-awareness.
Yes, he's a great person, I think. So he knocks on the door and is like, I'm just a poor boy. No, he's like, hello, I'm on the run from the law. Can I stay with you?
Hello, fellow criminal.
I don't know that you have convicts in here, but if you did, I wouldn't be mad. I'd fit right in. I'm also very tired and very hungry. So what's a mom to do? She lets him in. And the brothers aren't there, but they arrived later that night. And before they actually came into the house, they whistled from the woods to their mom until she whistled back to let them know that the coast was clear. Which I'm like, ooh, maybe that's why our ghost is whistling. I hate that word.
I like it.
So they do that. They come in, they eat, they all go to sleep, but not Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves stays up and watches them all go to sleep like a little spy boy.
Little sneaky boy.
A little sneaky boy. He quietly, and I don't know how this happened, but apparently he cuffs them in their sleep and they don't wake up until morning.
Maybe
and when
they were drunk.
yeah, that could be. I think that's the only possible explanation, but also seems likely.
Yeah, or he's just very gentle when he handcuffs people.
Gentle and strong.
What if he's like handcuffing them and then he looks at the camera and like dips their hand in warm water? He's like, ooh.
I'm into it. He's pleased. Ew. Tickles them with a feather.
Yeah.
Put some shaving cream in their hand.
Draws on their penis on their face with Sharpie.
He quietly cuffs them. When they wake up, Bass Reeves is ready. He's pointing his gun at them with like both hands. And they wake up and he just is like, okay, you're under arrest.
Now you have to walk 28
dudes.
miles.
Well, he made a plan.
Okay.
Other U.S. Marshals were there. They had arrived and were waiting outside. So they did all walk back together, though.
What?
They did walk back.
Why?
Because you can't trust a man on a horse, Cat. I don't know. Also, maybe they didn't walk back. They could have definitely ridden on
they probably
horseback.
did.
Most likely, right?
I would think so.
Either way, they get back. Bass Reeves gets the $5,000 award, over $120,000 in today's money.
Wow.
Not bad.
Worth it.
Worth walking 60 miles about, right?
I would say so.
know.
I'd
Is
do it. I'd do it.
Would you?
Yes.
Yeah, for 120.
Yeah.
That's a house. The money was definitely a perk for Bass Reeves, but he probably liked feeling like a badass and was also just really dedicated to the cause. So much so, he hunted down one of his own sons, Benny Reeves. He arrested his ass.
Not
He's
Benny.
Like, Benny, right? Of course, Benny has to be the youngest. I don't know for sure. Seems like the youngest name.
I mean, he had 12 kids. One of them was bound to turn out bad.
Yes, if not just by pure chance, but like when your dad's a cop, like the chances of hating cops when one is your dad, that's like tenfold, right?
That's quite the statement. I don't know.
I think so. If you have 12 kids and it's like
one of them will hate you.
Yes, exactly. One of them's going to hate you. And then it's like, hating cops is kind of popular right now. Maybe it was then too. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
Like, let me live my life in the wilderness doing bad shit. I don't know.
I mean, why not?
I don't know. But he arrests his ass. He's like, this is freaking personal. I would also arrest my son in this case, though, too. Benny Reeves had a warrant out for his arrest because he murdered his wife.
What the fuck? Why is everyone murdering their wife?
It's the 1800s.
Yeah, and I guess people still always murder their wife.
Yeah. So one of Bass Reeves' coworkers was like, maybe you should let us, like one of us, serve the warrant instead of you because, that's your son. And Bass Reeves quietly said, give me the writ, before going out and finding and arresting his son.
I mean, fair enough. He murdered his daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
I'd want to get his ass too.
You are bringing shame upon me. Like, I am the best U.S. Marshal and you murdered your wife?
Yeah.
And you're going to try and hide? At least be one of the ones who immediately comes in, turns yourself in.
Yeah, what an
idiot.
A little turd.
Freaking Benny, get it together. He was sentenced to life in prison. I think he was released like 20 years later, though, for being a model citizen.
Mm-hmm. That murdered his wife.
Yeah.
A model citizen of him.
Yeah, they're like, congratulations, you murdered your wife. You're a man in the 1800s.
Yeah, you're good at following the rules and waiting in line at jail. Good job.
Bass Reeves himself got into a bit of trouble over an incident that happened in 1884. Bass Reeves shot and killed his camp cook, William Leach. Bass Reeves reported it as self-defense, but in trial, they established that it had all been an accident. Apparently, what happened was he put the wrong sized bullet in the gun and it was jammed, and he tried to get it out with a knife, but then like either the knife or the bullet got lodged in this guy's neck.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
So that happened. I just want to make note of that because I feel like that's something we definitely have to talk about. But all in all, that's Bass Reeves. Oklahoma became a state in 1907. Bass Reeves was then 68 years old, and he stayed on serving the police department for 2 years before retiring. He died 1 year later on January 12th, 1910 from Bright's disease. 1 year of retirement after all that?
Yeah, that sucks.
Sucks.
What's Bright's disease?
I don't know. That's a great question.
I'm on it.
Thank you. He was remembered in his obituary as, quote, universally respected U.S. Deputy Marshal who was absolutely fearless and had no master but duty. Bass Reeves helped tame the Wild West, bringing in over 3,000 criminals in his career, all but 14 of them brought in alive.
Wow. That's cool.
That's our little lesson, a little learning journey on Bass Reeves, Daddy Reeves.
Daddy Reeves, thank you.
You're
Hayley.
welcome.
So Bright's disease is a kidney disease, which is actually nephritis, which is an inflammation of the kidneys caused by toxins, infection, or autoimmune conditions.
Probably a lot of arsenic or something.
Arsenic.
The 1800s.
Or alcohol.
Or alcohol. Yeah, both. Yeah.
Does alcohol go through the kidneys?
It says toxins.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? Well, maybe we should ask Benny. All right. My sources are The Remarkable Bass Reeves on Today I Found Out, YouTube, I'm not making this up, the real Lone Ranger was a badass named Bass, by Tracy Morris on tracymorris.com.
I'm not making this
A
up.
bass ass named Bad.
Did I say that?
No.
I was worried. Bass Reeves, the Lone Ranger on Biographics YouTube, Drunk History on Bass Reeves, and History.com article on Bass Reeves. That's my lesson, bitches.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you liked this, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend about us, follow our social medias, and check out all the new stuff that's happening on Patreon. We will be starting our new Patreon series in March. So stay tuned.
Yeah, March 4th is the next happy hour.
Yes. Come hang out with us on March 4th.
That's soon.
It is
First
soon.
Friday
week.
of every month.
Yes.
Be there or be square.
See ya.
Bye.
3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.